Telling his son's former headmaster wants an answer.
Okay, we've got two proposals. The first proposal is that we pay our £10,000 to the Access Drainage Board now.
Yes.
Now. Okay, all those in favour?
Right.
Okay, that's carried
And
unanimously.
then there's the
second one is
payment.
when the statutory payment is received from Somerset County Council, does Owen have your authority to immediately pass it on?
Before we vote on it, is it legal to do it that way?
It's the only way I can do it. Actually.
It's okay.
They've spent hours arguing the correct way of doing it, and this is the correct way of doing it. So, yeah. All those in favour?
And the other payment, which is the statutory payment, which is the two.
Oh, I'm sorry, and the statutory payment.
Three.
All those in favour?
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Well done. Thanks very much.
Just on finance, you've got a pre-circulated budget paper there, but of course you've also got the summary sheet which I sent the other day, which slightly gives a clearer, easy to pick out sort of number from where we are. Obviously we're coming to, this is our last meeting of this financial year. So it's obviously pretty well tied up now. And we've also, of course, got the Hadstone Energy grant, 5k coming as well this month, which is obviously to be discussed later on the agenda. All Hadstone Energy have asked me to do, and I have done it on the council behalf, is just to acknowledge the £5,000 and to tell them that it will be used for a community project to be decided.
Yeah.
That's the way I've actually worded it to them.
Okay.
But as far as our budget's concerned this year, then we're sort of well within the parameters that we set out. We're up on income and slightly up on expenditure. The income, of course, has been raised because of the energy. 5k, that's made a big difference to our percentage increase on the income section.
Just ask a question. The forecast figures in blue are in most cases, apart from the 500 one, considerably more than the budget.
Because we've got a month to go, basically.
Right.
We've still got a month to go, you see. So, taking into account what I anticipate will be our expenditure for March, is where I've kind of forecasted the figures. So, forecasting is not an exact science, of course.
No.
Never has been. It's very much a stab in the dark of where I think it will be. And of course, things can suddenly come out of the woodwork during a month. Although, having said that, this parish council, this is the last meeting in which any agreements on any payments will be made. So you can take what we've agreed this evening, add that to the figure, and then that gives you some idea of where we end up. So, but you'll have a set of accounts in April, which will obviously show in full detail exactly what everything relates to.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Can I just report with everybody that we've received a grant from the Nuttall Trust of £725, which I asked for the replacement seesaw. So can I pass that to Owen and ask that he responds to the Nuttall Trust with thanks for their grant, okay? And the seesaw will undoubtedly come up later.
So that will now appear once it actually hits the bank. That will become a reserve, a fixed reserve, a restricted reserve, in other words, for the seesaw replacement. Okay, so just so you know where that's going into part of the finances.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, 12A. Brian, I think this is...
Right.
Thanks. Thank you.
We had a meeting in February, and as you can see, these are notes I took, and I was very pleased to meet Colin from GB Sports, who was very positive and helpful, and had some good ideas. Those are the items we discussed, as you can see, were the different things on the third paragraph there. The particular specific things we mentioned was the roundabout, which is still in good order. He was still impressed with that. And as you said, it could have its metal bars painted different colours to make it much more attractive. And that wouldn't cost us very much at all. He liked the idea of the swings, which could be replaced, and we're talking about, as long as we've got enough finance, of course, with a basket swing, which are very popular. And these would be lined at right angles to the present position so that they looked out onto the green. These are just ideas for the future, of course, for you to think about and mull over, perhaps till the next meeting. Another point we made was a mound, making a mound with a slide on it, and that would have to be done during the autumn, and it would have to be covered with matting stuff, and make sure that the grass takes root, and it would make the area much more interesting, I think, having a different level and give it another perspective. A ground level trampoline was one thing I mentioned, and apparently it's very popular, but a replacement mat would cost in the region of £400. And we talked about a small mugger, which could have thin wires stretched across the back of it to prevent the noise of a ball hitting it, because neighbours might be pretty irate if there's a ball thumping against the wall all the time. And he said you can have one where you've got wires stretched, and it acts just the same, but without the same noise. And the maintenance on a large frame and slide, as you said, needs to be carried out because there's some wooden struts.
Yeah, which is starting to fall
yeah.
on the edges.
I don't know whether John and Peter want to add any more things to that.
No, I think that's about right, actually.
But
The
it's
wires
a
stretched
question of cost.
the wires, the wire backing is of course the broad choice. If you're not bored, you drive the
Very
neighbours
nuts,
up.
yes. Yeah.
Look at me kicking all against.
So they're just notes for you to sort of have a think about, and perhaps add your own ideas as well. Perhaps we could discuss it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I think from my own point of view, this will be a big exercise.
Oh yes.
And will probably be subject of a Viridor type claim, which is a very detailed claim, and they would want to see quotes from different suppliers. They'd want to see before and after. They'd want to see reasons for it being done. We'd also have to get someone else in the side wings, say like the Nuttall Trust, which we had last time, which would pay, because we have a company that's, or if you like, we have something that's set up that would allow us to make a claim to Viridor, but we'd need that third party with some finance, albeit small. I think, from my own point of view, I think we should do it, and I think we should probably ask this guy to price the equipment.
Yeah, he's
so-
also sent, I think I forwarded on to you,
Yeah,
a big detailed thing by email. I can send it to everybody.
yeah. I didn't quite understand what he'd sent out, Brian. But
Well, I can get back to him.
it would be. I think if we're going to do this, it needs to be priced, and we need to look at maybe stripping out all that area in the corner where the old bushes are. Strip all that out and tidy it.
Recycling area.
Yeah, we could use that and really spend some effort on getting it right.
Well, that comes into the
You know.
next item, more or less.
Oh right,
So
okay.
just check,
Yeah.
the point on the swing, this basket swing, I think is admirable, because we were watching something the other day, and that will cater for, and I don't know whether we do cater for currently, children with disability. We ought to think about just how have we got disabled children in the village to encourage them to come and have the access to
He
the green.
did say they were very popular for, say, mums with babies,
Small
children,
children,
small
yes.
children,
Yeah.
and big enough to hold those.
Hold the bin
Yeah.
when they fall.
Or
asleep.
several children at once.
Yeah.
Hold across there.
I think you mentioned several teenagers as well.
Would you, I don't know what other people think, but I think we should go back to Colin at GB Sports and get him to, if you like, draw a map out, for want of a better word, and identify the areas and what he proposes for each area in terms of modifications or new equipment, and then we start to get a price together for the whole thing. And just see what we're in for. But it'd be a big exercise.
Yeah.
I don't see it as being an easy win at all.
Well, this is just really a starting point.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Unless we take one step at a time
Yeah.
and say what's the most important thing. The most important thing probably is to tidy up that area and get some form of area
I
for
mean,
the older kids.
One of the things is that we could, in fact, ourselves paint that roundabout. It wouldn't cost much, would it?
As long as it's not lead-based.
Pardon?
As long as it's not lead-based.
That's quite.
But if we get a global figure, we can, if necessary, push it in for all the priorities.
So how would you like me to minute that? Is it a deferred item, pending sort of costings and...
In the meantime, I'll contact him and ask him for some ideas, costings and so on, and then bring it back to you.
Yeah,
next
well, if
meeting.
you want any help, I'll help, or Peter or John.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure.
was going to say, wouldn't it be advisable for two or three of us to get together, or the whole council, have a walk around and go away with some ideas so that we can present him with where
Yeah.
we're going?
Well, that's my point of this, really.
I've still got that
That's,
Wicksteed book you gave me,
Yeah,
which we could look at different things,
yeah.
but it will be expensive,
Very.
very, but we can but try. Okay, so we're going to meet then and have a walk around and identify some kit and then go back to you. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Will you organise that, Brian?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, former site recycling area.
That's me again. Sorry.
And B.
Thank you.
This is not strictly to scale, but it's more than it was before. Scale 1 to 100. And if you can have one of those each,
That's a car, is it?
that's a car space.
If you have
More or less.
If you've got your number on it, you're parked in the wrong spot.
Have you got one, John?
Got one?
I have a car.
You've got a
You
car?
got a car?
Very well.
I can't think mine up.
My own feeling is, first of all, that fence that is up there serves no purpose whatsoever now. The bins have gone, and it could be removed, as could the front fence where the notice board is. That could be re-sited somewhere else. So that will give you at least another car space. What I would like you to do is to perhaps take this home and have a look at it and fiddle with it, and come back at the next meeting and with any new ideas. The other suggestion too was that the fence at the back on the left could be pushed back and give space for another car, just to alleviate the problem of parking, just even in a minor way. But how best do we use that space? And I do think certainly that fence is pretty useless now. Why is it there? It was there to protect people from seeing the bins.
No offence.
But there are no bins there.
It's not our fence.
Sorry?
Bob was saying about there by county or central.
Yes.
But that's really, again, it's just a discussion point for you to think about and give your own ideas as well.
Fine.
Okay?
Fine.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
Can I just ask one question? In terms of the plan we've got at the moment, the 3 parking spaces that are there at the moment next to the fence, that, the bit that I'm just trying to get my head around is when you drive in there at the moment, it doesn't feel like there's a very big gap between the end of the fence and the first car under the apple tree. Is that gap, this gap here?
Yes.
go.
Yeah, that's,
You reckon that bit's to scale as well?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Mm.
Right,
You can try it out yourself,
Yeah.
measure it
Yeah.
yourself, just to double check my figures.
Yeah.
But that is just a waste of space now.
Yeah.
That top bit where the bins were, which could be utilised. Okay?
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just be a devil's advocate here, but why we're providing all this parking space? We don't get any income from it. It's our asset and it's used by others. People park there during the day. You know,
Well, if you can take 1 or 2 cars off the road and put them in the car park, I think that's quite a good idea, really.
yeah, no, I'm just,
I mean, we don't really get any income
If you-
from
I'm
it.
allowed to be
No,
organised.
no.
We're not
You
getting...
said you could build a house there.
To an extent, the toilet block.
Yeah.
It's already got toilets.
But, yeah. Pay to park,
Pay and display.
pay and display.
Anyway, if you're interested in your ideas, perhaps at the next meeting. I've done my bit.
We can employ a car park attendant, parking person.
Yeah.
They did a Bristol Zoo.
But there was,
That's it. Yeah, turn up.
there was some talk at one time about moving the fence, the main big fence back, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
But that would be quite costly, you see. There's a big fence right at the back there.
Yeah,
Encroaching onto the green, yeah.
Encroaching onto the green, is that a good thing or not?
No, but if you had a nice little mug in the corner there, you could have a little bit of tarmac opposite it. But like you say, let's all go away and come up with our idea.
so
You could have
we'll,
multi-storey parking.
yeah, we'll,
Underground.
yes, underground parking.
Yeah.
So will you organise the meeting to do both of those two things?
Well, really, all I want is for you to come back at the next meeting and say, yes, this is rubbish, this is good, or no, it's rubbish,
Okay,
or let's have some different ideas, basically.
right, thank you.
Mm.
C. Hadstone Energy grant.
This whole grant, as you probably know, came about as a result of them getting planning application for the solar farm. And they offered 3 parish councils, was it right, 3 of us, yeah, were offered the chance to apply. I obviously applied, a very short application, about 4 lines, that's all it was, saying that we would like to apply. And suddenly I find that it's appeared in our banking one day. It was rather sudden. But obviously it's been given to us for the use of some sort of community project.
Put that towards
Um,
play area.
We did have some previous schemes planned, didn't we?
It could be. I think we should all probably pool our ideas. I mean, I'll throw one idea out. First of all, use it on some of the footpaths. But I think the other thing I'd like to look at is there's no doubt about it that Fox and Goose junction will never have traffic lights or never have a roundabout there, or they'll never do any major infrastructure work because of cost. And what my thoughts were is that probably we should get highways in, which we've already talked about. We haven't got the highways person in, to see whether we could have some signs erected, i.e. warning signs, give way signs, or something like that, advising people that it is a dangerous junction and that they should take care, because that will be, it will be seen that we're trying to do our best with a very difficult junction, and you know, at least we will have made every effort. You know, that's my one of my thoughts, and that money could be used for that, or some.
I'm concerned that you do anything on that, because the county will take it as though we're, by doing that, we're happy,
Well, then.
because it's more important than how the signs up there, and I think that, I know what you're saying, it really is, it's a joke, and the fact that we're letting them off the hook by putting up signs.
Okay, well, let's get the highways person in.
Yeah.
Let's at least be seen to be doing something, because it was highlighted in was it February's BKM? Whereas Jackson's article.
10, 15 years.
Yeah, but we can't keep pushing it. We've got to let people know that we are trying to do something, and make ourselves a nuisance. And I think we should get the highways person from Somerset to have a look at it, and to, because there is going to be a serious accident there one day. That's my that was my. But I think we just ask people for their recommended projects that they'd like to see. For instance, Roger's idea for the 90th birthday would be a useful project.
Can you put your idea down on the agenda for discussion for next month?
Yep.
We did when we sent off for the application. We also mentioned a couple of ideas. I think Peter mentioned possible bus stop down at the bottom end of the village, where there are still buses. We also talked about the possibility of some form of help towards the church as well, with another one that potentially could be in the mix.
Right. I.e. the into the Friends account. Yeah.
Well, into the if there's a major project for something like a roof repair.
Yeah.
Again, if they're applying for grants, that's the sort of thing that could be the match funding that helps lever in there.
Helps lever in. Yeah. Okay. So can you put that down? So
Don't we already give enough to the church as it is? I think so.
Well, if you read the BKM this month, you'll see that they're discussing the future of the church, and that's why we've got Simon Lewis speaking to us in April, and I think they'll need every bit of money that they've got. But again, can you put that down? As a suggestion?
Going back to your signs idea, I think if you're putting too many up, not that you would do, you're going to negate the whole idea. There was a study some years ago where in one county they took all the signs down. And in fact, road safety improved because it put the responsibility onto the driver. Now, that might be...
That's exactly what happens at the moment, though, isn't it? Responsibility is on the driver.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Mark.
At Bidisham, Kingsway Road, they have a sign that says traffic emerging that flashes when traffic comes to that junction, which warns traffic on the A38.
Bidisham.
Yeah.
Yes, where they do.
You mean up, down the kind of dead end bit? Yes, I know.
It's on the end of a corner, actually.
Yes.
Well, it's just a thought, and you've given some very good ideas already, so I'm sure we can come up with something to spend this money wisely. Okay, Wessex Water updates.
I sent the email around with Jufu's reply to my request for more information. It seems as though the whole project is actually on target, and it would seem that they're going to be looking seriously at commencing this summer.
Yeah.
And you know, basically, she's going on maternity leave for a while. There'll be somebody else taking over her role, but she's been quite good at communicating with us actually. As Martin Tipman has as well. So the two of them have been very good. But I don't know whether any questions will come up at the annual meeting on this. I dare say there might be some people who raise the matter.
Well, I think if it goes on the agenda, you're going to get people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is obviously why it's there.
Yeah.
That's it really. I mean, it seems to be on track. And hopefully they will get working in the summer.
AGM on the 20th of April. We're going to put this in the BKN, this agenda, this notice of the meeting, so that people are aware of it, to try and get our attendance up again. If you remember last year, we were really well attended.
Yes.
And so hopefully Simon Lewis's, I know there's already a lot of interest in what he's got to say, his team. Bob and I and John have already heard it, so it'd be interesting to know what you think about it. And then we've got Denby and we've got Wessex Water and all the general stuff. So I think there's enough there for a decent meeting. Bob?
I was just going to wonder, I mean, in terms of a decent meeting, I think you're right. I think almost we're in danger of having too many things on there.
Yeah.
I mean, statutory, you have to do your bit because it's the parish meeting. I'm sure the village are hankering after every last word that myself and John Denby will come out with about district and county, but we don't technically have to do a report. I just wondered whether, if we're focusing on the Simons,
Yeah.
you're going to have at least probably half an hour presentation plus half an hour or more in questions.
Yeah.
And the Wessex thing that is about to hit Brent Street later in the year, it would almost be worth it if we could get them back again, because I'm not sure people will realise just how disruptive Brent Street is going to be over quite a long period.
Yeah.
And I just wondered whether almost if you focused on the parish stuff, which we have to do, plus the church and Wessex, whether you dispense with myself and John. Both of us, I'm sure, will be happy to come if people want us to, but we could either be at the beginning where people are wanting to get to the important bit and hear what church says in the Wessex, or we're at the end where people really want to get to the tea and Vicky's and we're in between them and that. So it was just a suggestion of if 6 items potentially are going to be a lot to get through in an evening, and do you get to the point where people think, oh, for heaven's sake, just get through that one because we want to get to the bit we want?
I don't have to do my bit though.
No, to be honest, you do, because it's the annual parish meeting, and in fact that's the report back to the parish from the parish council.
So if we take out, if we move John Denby and yourself to say in attendance, or you'll be in to answer any questions.
Just a
on
question,
behalf-
absolutely.
10 minutes questions.
Yeah, or they can grab us at the end if
At
that's
the
easier
very
for people to do, because as I say, otherwise you're there and sometimes you get to the point of, do people really want to be having another 20 minutes of John and myself when they've probably had already two and a half hours worth of other stuff?
Do we have to do council
You don't
finance?
have to, actually. We never have done. We only started last year actually.
No, I mean, as long as there's some mention of the finances within
Yeah.
your report,
Yes.
then you don't have to have a separate item, because you can always circulate stuff and have it available on the internet as well if people want it.
I think probably the best thing to do then, would you get rid of the parish council business first, or right at the very end?
In a way, if you have it at the beginning, then you can do your intros of the other people as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be a long thing.
No.
And again, if I think you've done the last couple of years, there's been a bit of a written report that people can have as well, so they can have that.
So if we make that minutes to be approved by the gathering, 3 chairman's report, and then go into Simon Lewis, and then Wessex, and then there'd be any questions for.
We're available at the end.
Just make it. Okay, all right. You happy with
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Compliance for you.
Thank you.
With our obligations.
Crooked Lane, well, Crooked Lane is a mess at the moment again, but primarily because they've been down dredging it, but I don't think they'll be doing it regularly now. So Chris East said he was going to put the gate up, but I don't think it's gone up yet. I've spoken to Matthew Ward. He's happy to provide a lock and chain for them when it's installed, and then we put our own lock, and we'll have to do... Is it Paul Baker? Is it Paul Baker who uses it? Is that his name?
He is one of them, but it was the gentleman, Mr. Dibble.
Yeah. Do we have his contact details?
I haven't got it. He did ring me on a couple of occasions, but I haven't got his contact details. I'm sure we can find him fairly easily, though, I should have thought.
Can you let us find out?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, to Paul. It's Paul Frost.
Paul Frost.
That's it. He'll need to have his lock as well.
Yeah.
So, but when the gate's up, I'll liaise with Matthew anyway. Okay. But then I think when it's dried again, perhaps we look at maybe getting a contractor in just to level it out for the summer period.
Yeah.
And keep on top of it. Reservoir clean-up, well, we know about that.
That's all been done. There's nothing else that can be. What I have, just one thing there I have done, I've asked Bristol Water, I've got this Stuart Cleller now, which is the first time I've had a decent contact with somebody there who actually knows what's going on. He has agreed now to schedule it for a maintenance programme, which hasn't been done before. They've only ever responded when we've asked them to, as opposed to a regular scheduled. So he's going to let us know when he's set that schedule up, so we know how often he's going to do it.
Very good. Brilliant. Well done. Thank you.
Chairman, can I also ask, when we had an email that was circulated a little while ago when Bristol Water were talking about us doing something up there with the path, and they were saying that they were happy for us to do it as long as we indemnified them against it. Did we get any clearance from our insurers as to whether they were happy for the council to indemnify, or could it end up coming back on us as councillors?
Yes, it could. Is the short answer to it. Well, having spoken to the insurers about it, they said, well, basically, yes. If you are the contractor that authorises the work, and you don't get a sign off from Bristol Water, then technically you've actually laid the gravel down. So therefore, it is your responsibility because it wasn't laid down by Bristol Water. So,
if there's any problem, Bob and I can cover it on the footpath because we're both covered for Jubilee Room, I think, when we went down to Bridgewater and had our training. And they said that they would back us up in improvements to footpaths within the parish.
no, I'm not aware of that, but I mean, we are insured anyway. I mean,
But I can bang a nail in a star or do anything like that, and they're happy that if anybody should have any problem with that, the work I do, that their insurance will cover them because of the training I've had.
I think one of the things we need to do is when we get the new insurance policy schedule details for the following year, I think perhaps our group, the audit group, ought to have a look at that policy and go through it item by item. I don't think we've ever done that. I've added bits on over the years, but I think we ought to have a more detailed look at
Sounds good.
exactly what is covered.
Okay. Wyvale right turn.
I sent an email to Owen and said I had a look at it the other week, and as far as I'm concerned, or can see rather, there is a round no right turn immediately at the entrance, and on the opposite side of the dual carriageway there is one which is faded, and there's also painted signs on the asphalt as you actually leave the gate. Now, because it's a round sign, and because of the format it is in, it actually constitutes a regulatory sign under the Road Traffic Act. And I can't see, therefore, A, that Wyvale would have been permitted to put it up in the first place, unless it had authority from the county, and I can't see why county are bucking their obligations on it, because it's a regulatory sign which has to beat the Road Traffic Act. If it's not being maintained, and it's certainly not being implemented, I've witnessed on 3 occasions people turning right. And bearing in mind it's a dual carriageway with no restricted speed, so there's potential of cars coming on there at 70 miles an hour. And it's as bad as the other junction.
It could be worse.
It could be worse. So, I don't know. How is
We can go back to the county again. I mean, the conversation I had with this guy, he seems to be fairly knowledgeable about highway matters. He was very quick to discount it. That's one of his
I mean,
responsibilities.
is it worth talking to Wileyvale directly?
Oh, sorry.
I also spoke to Highways and have had a response from them questioning whether there's a traffic regulation order on that junction or not. So I've now raised it with Sedgemoor to go back to the original planning commission and see what was actually agreed then. They're looking into the paperwork on that at the moment, and as soon as I've got some feedback on that, I'll pass it back to Owen.
Yeah, so can we take that forward and
Yes.
Bob will report back. Thank you. Thank you. Filming of meetings.
Yeah, it was raised by myself. It came to light after I had an email to say that if I wanted to, I could go on to YouTube to see myself performing. Well, I've got no problem with that, all I have. But if the person that filmed the meeting wanted to put it on YouTube, I can't stop that person. But what did come around in my head was that Bob, who films the meeting, doesn't declare an interest because he's filming it as a parishioner. He could take the film away. It could contradict what Owen writes in his Gracie every month. And things because it's Bob, I've got no fears, but if it was someone else, then I would worry that they could manipulate things. So what I'm suggesting is that the council themselves should have a copy of the filming of the meeting so that nobody could take a film of the meeting away and play around with it, cut it and trim it and do whatever you can with films these days. And then we could vote to say that we don't want it on YouTube.
That was Bob. Why does it have to go on YouTube?
Well, because that's the way of making it available for people to be able to see. That's the point of the legislation that was brought in, was so that people could see how councils operate and what they do. So in terms of the legislation, what it does say is legally you can't do what Peter has said he wouldn't want people to do. It says that you can put up the contents of the meeting as long as you do not alter it. You're not allowed to edit bits out, so you can't take the first part of a meeting and then take another bit and miss out a bit somewhere else. What you put up has to be from sort of start to finish, or so you're not adulterating it or amending it in any way. In terms of if it differs with Owen's report, part of the reason for having it on YouTube also was because when we tried to circulate it to members as a hard copy, it never made the rounds. Different people had different difficulty in accessing it because it was difficult to get off a memory stick. So by having it on YouTube, it's the easiest way because it's downloadable and people don't have to have lots of equipment to do it. They can just do it by doing it. So if Owen wants to use it as an aid member while he's writing his minutes, it's available for him to do so. In terms of having a copy of it, I'd have absolutely no problem in sending a copy to Owen to keep for the parish council if that's something the parish council wanted. But as I say, the what's up there is the entirety of everything. Nothing is edited and nothing is added or taken out.
So how do we encourage people to come along to our meetings? Then they can all sit at home and watch us.
Well, how do you encourage them at the moment, Peter?
Well, that's it. But you, at the moment, you've got this. You can say that if you want to know what happens, come along and see what happens. And I don't need to see it anyway because I'm here.
Why can it not just go on the Brent Knoll website?
I was going to say that.
Why does it have to go on YouTube?
Well, how would it be? I mean, I don't know how the Brent Knoll website would handle it. I mean, in terms of YouTube, it's there. It's a system which is easy to operate. You just upload it, and it's on their site. It could be accessed through having a link on the Brent Knoll website if we wanted to have that. But I don't think our website would be able to cope with having that on there. You'd need a very different type of website to be able to have video and a quantity of material over a few meetings would add up to such an extent that you by far exceed what we currently buy for our website anyway.
So, my last question, sorry, once you put it on YouTube, is it on there forever, or do you take it down and put the fresh one up?
It would be on there until it's, I mean, be on there until it's taken down. There'd be no reason to remove them because people would look at them as they would do an archive.
Excuse me, do we know how many people have actually seen it? Is there a counter?
There's a counter on there. I think at the moment it's about a dozen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
Well, plus your...
Oh, my friend who looked at it from beginning to end. Yes.
Also, I would say at the moment when I put it up there, the only people I've notified that is up there at the moment is the members of the parish council. It hasn't been widely advertised. I was, if it is something that people want to have a look at, there'd be no reason to say why there couldn't be a link from the website, or even we could put something in the BKN to tell people to go and have a look. The other thing I did do is, in terms of YouTube, if you want to, as part of what you do to let people find it, you put in keywords. So, for example, you could have the word parish council, you could have the word Brent Knoll. At the moment, I have only put one keyword in there, which is the phrase Brent Knoll Parish Council. So people have to put and search for Brent Knoll Parish Council in order to find it. Whereas if we were looking to have a wide audience, you could put more words in there that people could just happen to find it by chance. I wasn't looking for it to be 100,000 hits. It was something that is there if people want to see what's happening in the village.
How do other parish councils publish their on YouTube or?
Most of them do. I mean, at the moment, Sedgmore is looking about doing their own meetings. YouTube is used by a number of districts and county councils simply because it's free and there's no charge for doing it. They make their money obviously out of advertising that they get from other people on there. It's not made from the videos themselves. And there's nothing, you can do commercial videos where you get a sort of fee. This one isn't. This is done on the community section where there's no money that is generated by the thing being up there. It's just available for people to look at.
You haven't got to put it on there.
It's
There's
not-
nothing stopping you.
Absolutely, it's not compulsory.
But we can't do anything because he's a member of the public. But if we brought it into the auspices of the council, then we could have a vote and say we don't want it to happen.
No,
But then you could do it
they
as a...
can't. No. If the council were doing the recording itself and decided what it wanted to do
That's
with it,
right.
then that's up to the council. If anybody records anything at a meeting, then how they deal with it is up to them, and even as a councillor, that wouldn't differ.
So why do you leave the room when we're doing planning?
I leave the room.
One watch it on the stand.
I have to leave the room because I am not allowed to participate in the decision making on a planning issue, because if I've participated in the decision making at this level, when it comes to the district, I'm seen to have fettered my decision because I've already made a decision earlier.
Right.
So it's nothing to do with the fact that I'm not allowed to know what's going on. It's because it is because I can't have a say, because if I have that say at this level, then I've predetermined when it comes to the district.
Fine.
Alternatively, I could stay here and then get out of every planning application for Brent Knoll when it comes to the district, but that's why.
Right. Thank you.
Is YouTube, I should know this really, but is YouTube regarded as social media?
Yes.
Is in the same category as Twitter and Facebook?
Well, it's a website, but
Yeah. Because I know there's been a lot of discussion about what you put on Facebook and so forth. Of course, anything that goes on YouTube technically will go on Facebook, I suppose, because it's a published media. I'm not sure that ours would. I can't imagine anybody would want to be putting ours on Facebook, really. But you never know. There must be
but equally, I mean,
characters around.
you can have people coming along and tweeting from meetings now as to what's going on and sending out those as things actually happen. It doesn't tend to happen so much in parishes unless there's something very controversial and pretty stroppy that's normally happened. But certainly that's happening within the districts and counties now, where you'll get people at the meeting asking if they don't have to ask anymore because that's the legislation. They can just publish as they go. So a number of the press now come along with the papers and do it that way.
Okay. Does that answer your question or your point?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
What do you want me to minute on that? Just we've had a discussion about it. Nothing at all.
No, I'm happy that... Well, I'm not happy, but I realise I can't go any further.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can't be the last step.
Sorry?
You can't win an Oscar.
Okay, SID and Bluetooth technology issues. I don't know what that's
Richard,
about.
I think, Richard
Yeah,
knows this one.
You may recall that we had Richard to come and talk about SID. I did offer to look at some data, and obviously that was delayed because of the issues we have with SID, but I did contact him now that we have the new unit, and he said, have you got Bluetooth connectivity? And I said no. So basically, if you want me to do the data analysis, I would have to buy something to allow me to, my computer or something to talk to the unit.
Have you not got Bluetooth on that pad?
No, not for, but this would not accommodate the data. It is an e-reader effectively. No, on my laptop I haven't. And Richard said he had to buy something for him to look at it. So
That was the question I was going to ask. I thought we had bought one for Richard to do it.
Yeah.
In which case, if he can download the data, why can't he just forward the data
well, that's what
to
I
the other Richards,
that's what I
rather than having to have another Bluetooth handset?
He seemed to think, and I'm putting two and two together, maybe coming up with four, that he was sort of almost be bringing the unit to the bungalow, and it would sit there and talk to my laptop or PC or whatever, and that was it. Because I thought he was going to download. I'll send him an email to say, is it possible for you to download the data and send it to me?
Well, that's what he'd done previously. He downloaded it when it was all working, and then the unit failed.
That's right.
It got repaired, and now he can do it. So there's no reason why he can't do it. And
That was the issue.
pass it on in printed format, I assume.
Well, electronic format would be better because I can do some statistical
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah, I would ask him to do that for you. Yeah.
I'll go back to him.
Okay. Thank you. Handyman. We talked about this, the possibility of employing, because we do lots of different jobs, and we talked about the possibility of employing hiring, engaging a self-employed person with proper insurances, etc., and equipment to go and do those jobs which we would otherwise have to buy in anyway, and would make us more efficient, if you like. We could just call him up straight away and he would be, if you like, available to do all our work that needed doing. Obviously it's difficult. He'll have to be a specific sort of person, self-employed, fully insured, mobile, with all the equipment. Bella, you mentioned
Burnham Maintenance.
Burnham, a company called Burnham Maintenance, Handyman or
Is that what
something.
it's called?
that
Well,
we
that's
could
what I
call
thought you said.
Yeah,
There must be
fully
these handy men in the back.
Yes.
Because didn't you do a bit of research?
Bit of
Ask them what they're going to do, what
yeah.
they can.
But what's the feeling about that we have one person that we just call on to do all these jobs?
Very useful.
Very useful.
Just useful to have
Very
somebody.
Good idea.
You also said it would help Richard in relocating Sid, didn't you?
I thought that could be one of his jobs. In other words, he could collect it from Richard and go and install it and take the batteries so that Richard wouldn't have to keep bombing about the place.
So what sort of money are we talking about paying?
Oh,
Not them.
I don't know yet.
No.
We'll probably tell you
but
what.
We need to get some
It
form
might
of
not be
specification.
an idea for this money from Hadstone.
Well, yes, yeah,
Just a suggestion.
but it might be that somebody in the village maybe wants to do that sort of work.
Is it
yeah.
worth putting anything in the BK?
Yeah, I was just going to say
I
that.
think it would be, yeah.
Sid will.
Yes.
Well, I think the first thing is, are you happy with that? If you are, I think we need to get some form of specification of the sort of person we want and what we would require, and take some advice, and then maybe advertise in Brent Knoll or maybe in Burnham for a candidate to come forward for interview or whatever, and make sure that they're suitable. But
Yeah.
it would just, so in other words, if we wanted someone to do that footpath up by the reservoir, that would be his job.
Yeah.
source of materials for him, and away it goes. Give him a wheelbarrow, yeah. But that's the idea, so we get these jobs done.
A little job, I mean, there's several things, but I noticed you come into the village, the regulation signs 30-mile-an-hour limit signs are absolutely filthy. Nobody's going to clean them, but that's a small job that
Could be
he
done.
could do.
Yeah. Okay, all right, so maybe the finance committee meet and come up with some...
We need a job description, or at least the type of person you're looking for, and
Okay.
what the parameters of the job would be, how you would need to be insured, etc., etc.
It would be nice if there was somebody in the village rather than a
Yes.
It would actually be super.
Okay.
There are some handymen that advertise in the village, but they may want to apply for it or not.
Yeah. Well, we could
Well,
always
they
sound
may
them out,
not.
I suppose. Yeah.
They can also be interviewed.
Do they all advertise in the BKM?
Not all, there's a couple in there.
Are there?
Is there a couple?
Well, if you've got any suggestions, Bob, let me know. We can.
Well, I think all I was going to say was I think the idea of going out and actually advertising for it, I think we have to do because we've got to be seen to be open to anybody who can
Yes, of course
apply
we
for
have.
it, rather than it's
Yeah,
a
tender
friend of the
process, really, isn't
council.
Yeah.
So it is a tender process.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as long as you say, the finance committee draw up the brief, because it's not, although we're calling it handyman, it's someone in the village who sees the name handyman will think I'm a retired person, I'll just pop along and do a couple of jobs. As you mentioned, the insurance and stuff is going to be it's going to be more complicated than that.
Absolutely.
There's two things. There's their insurance and their skill sets, but there's also we would have to make sure that they're dealing with their tax affairs properly as well, because that can come back on people as well.
Yes,
If they're not careful,
Yeah.
if they're not paying their tax regularly, suddenly our name appears on their
Yeah.
system.
And if you beat somebody up, you're employing him, you're liable.
Okay. We'll come up with some further ideas then. Litter clean from. I don't know about that. Where's that?
Brian put that on the,
Yes, this was mentioned in the newspaper a few weeks ago, and about having a national litter clean in honour of the Queen's 90th birthday. I just thought it was not a bad idea. We could possibly organise it in this village, get volunteers to come along, make sure you've got reflexive coating, bring your big black bags, and organise it in different areas to collect up litter, just to smarten the place up a bit. That was just I'm sure we would find quite a lot.
Yeah, especially after recycling day.
When it's
A
windy.
windy recycling.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you think it's a no-go idea or not.
Yes.
It's a good idea, irrespective of whether it's the Queen's birthday or not.
Absolutely.
Well,
But it might bring home the idea of people not dropping litter.
Community spirit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say on that, if we did do it and had a date, then I think if you contact Sedgemoor through Claire Fawn, they will help by coming and picking up whatever you've managed to find, because otherwise you're ending up with a lot of stuff not knowing where to put it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course.
Not in my car.
and are you going to put a note in the BKN about it?
Yeah, we'll do that. Shall I
Shall
do
the
that?
first?
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Malcolm, did you want to say something?
Yes, I've noticed there's been a street cleaning van coming round through the village
Yes.
on the morning before the rubbish collection.
Yes, on the same morning.
Yes. I wonder if Sedgemoor could be
Put it back
asked
in
about that.
Yeah.
Never cleans mine up at Rose Park there. I never
Okay.
own it coming.
So that's going in the BKN then? You'll deal with that? Okay. And the
Yeah.
date?
Well, April the 21st is her official
Yeah,
birthday. Would that be? I have to get it in before then, wouldn't
yeah.
I? March 15th?
In March 15th,
Yeah.
in April.
Early April.
Because there's other things happening on June,
Yeah.
whatever it is, 20th.
Early April. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could do it on April the 20th, which is Hitler's birthday.
Oh, don't say that. How terrible.
Okay. Problems with posters on telegraph poles?
I brought that up again.
We can take those
That's
down.
another
Because April,
thing.
we're going to
Yeah.
have a list.
They're just wondered if we could put a little note in the PKN. We did that one.
One outside the carol advertising a Christmas bazaar over at Lotion.
Yeah,
Really?
and that dog that's been missing for...
Well, the dog, I'd be
years.
taking down dog labels up on the hill
Mm.
and throwing them away because they've been out there for
Right.
since August.
Okay.
I suspect they never found it.
Letter from Roger on the Queen's birthday celebrations. Where's Roger's letter? Roger wrote to see whether locals via the beacon could be asked to donate a small contribution with additional fundraising provided by local societies and the parish council. An idea for a commemorative stone, plaque or tree to be placed on the village green. Peter.
I think this will be about the third or fourth time I've lit a bonfire or a beacon on the top of the knoll. They got the one they set alight in 1893, I think, and 1895 with Victoria's.
Stone.
On the
Carved
bar.
in the stone, there's faces on the stones out there, but we've never ever marked the
No.
No,
Jubilee or the
no, nothing.
Silver Jubilee, Golden Jubilee, Diamond Jubilee.
Mm.
None of the Queen's reigns have ever been carved on the stone out there. There's two huge great stones out there.
Mm.
Well, I agree with that. Well, you were talking about the top of the log being East Brent. I wonder if there's something that on the top of the hill could be done in conjunction with East Brent, because obviously it's a very good idea to have a commemorative stone up there. I think it's a good idea.
Would you rather have it up the top or rather than...
Well, they've always been up on the top.
Oh,
haven't
that's
they?
where we have the
I don't think
beacon,
they're going to
isn't
build a
it?
house on top of the knoll.
on our village green?
Who's that?
It's
Well, no,
quite,
but it's a beacon, really.
it's quite badly eroded, isn't it? So that's,
Sorry?
the stone is quite badly eroded.
Mm.
Yeah, but you can still read the one that was carved in 1880.
No,
Yes.
Yeah. It maybe needs to be chiseled.
yeah.
That's all.
So you,
Use it or not, that's an idea.
so what you're suggesting, Peter, is that we would put something, get something carved in the stone.
Oh, just the date.
Mm.
Sorry?
Just the date and what it was for.
Right, in the stone.
Yes, the
Right.
stone's already there.
Would there be room for it?
Yeah,
Or we
there's
need
a
to
couple
put
of-
I think it's
another
on,
one?
it's waiting on
No,
another
there's
face.
a couple of faces on it that's not been used.
I think I'm right.
Duchess of Wessex would be not keen on climbing the hill
So
to
we said Duchess of Wessex.
Roger.
Oh, sorry. Oh, well, maybe I don't know it.
Helicopter, that's true.
I think that's a nice idea to do it in the stone up there where the others, and
Well, it's just that the last stone we had in the village, everybody's complained. The one that were on the...
No, anyway.
right.
No, this one.
There will be a good company to do it, which is Wells Cathedral
Yes.
stonemasons who are
And very
in Cheddar.
Yeah.
And they would Denise really a quote from them. They're about the only proper stonemasons in the area.
And one of the guys lives in East Brent.
I don't know who you see about it or
Who's
who
in terms of
stone
stone?
it belongs to or whether it's East Brent or ours.
Well,
Do you know whose it is, Bob?
I would have thought we'd have talked to the National Trust first because it's on the National Trust
Yeah.
land. So
Yeah.
it's going to be-
it's got to be talked to that trust about
Well, when was the National Trust started up?
There's only those.
Because this was...
Hundreds.
There are several monumental masons in Birmingham as well.
it. Go ahead, sir.
20s or 30s?
Right, hang on then. So we need to find out whose responsibility that stone is, then ask for permission, and then get a quote from from two or three people.
Immediately.
Should we put other things in there that we consider, or just this?
Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, that's only my idea. I don't know how the rest of the council feel about it.
Bob?
I would have thought if we're going to if we're going to have the work done, it would be nice to get cleaned up what's there at the moment so you can actually see it
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
And also, as Peter said, there's been